Hello, John Murcott here, the other John, not the Jonathan who has the great radio voice, but the one from Long Island that hopefully knows almost as much as Jonathan does. And what I'd like to go through with the HawkSearch QuickStart is how do I take my initial setup, which is a nice, clean, simple, basic setup, and upgrade it to Smart Search, meaning I want to add image search and concept search. So this is a great tool here. You may have used this already. It's part of the QuickStart process, and we do give you some sample code that shows you how to render this. But if I wanted to add the image search and the concept search, what does that look like? Essentially, you need to do two things. You do need to make some changes inside of HawkSearch itself, and then you also need to change the front end, because this front end does not include the image upload and or the concept search. So let's take a look. If I come back into HawkSearch itself, the best way to see if you have the image or concept search working is if you click on the left-hand side within those items, you'll see it's turned on and it actually will take you to the screen. If you are taken to a screen that has a video that explains how it works and it has a pop-up with a form to fill out, then just reach out to someone within HawkSearch to turn it on for you. We have changed QuickStart, so QuickStart should have this turned on for you, but as I said, if not, just please reach out and we'll turn it on for you right away. Once it is turned on, though, you'll see it highlights the fields that you may remember from your initial process with QuickStart, except now you have this option to turn on two Smart Search options, image and concept. I'm starting obviously here with image search, and it just says pick the image field in your index that you would want to convert for image search. Now, this is quite straightforward because there's only one image field, but you could imagine a scenario where, well, I have some thumbnails or some other images, and this one might be the best one. You're just going to pick one here because this is going to be the image related to the image search. So if someone takes a picture with their phone, if someone uploads a picture that looks like the image on your product, that's what will return the search result. So anyway, you go into this interface, you turn on the field. So I'm just turning on the image URL. Remember, it's just a reference to the image. I turn it on and hit save. So image search is now done. The next thing would be concept search. In some ways, it works the same way, but it's a little bit different because you could indeed want to include multiple fields. In this case, the title, the description makes sense. I would say the color, the category, and those all would be included in the concept search, which means when the index process occurs, these fields will be converted essentially into a vector. This is what uses the large language model, and that's what makes the Smart Search functionality available. Now, keep in mind, take a look at the other video that I just did that talks about re-indexing. This is a perfect example where you need to do a full reindex, which only makes sense because obviously I have new significant settings here. And when the processing occurs, when that index process occurs, I need to, of course, do the normal indexing like you probably did when you first set up this QuickStart. But the system also needs to convert that image and these fields into a vector. So you re-index. Just please go back to the other video. It's in the developer portal. Please go back and do the re-index process. So now I've re-indexed, but if I come here, it doesn't change anything on the front end. Those vectors that were created from that indexing process for Smart Search are inside of HawkSearch, but they're not exposed in the front end. So here, once again, when you come into the Rapid UI framework, this is probably what you were looking at before. When you used our Rapid UI example, my guess is you use this one. Right? It has a little bit of code here. You can save it in an HTML file. And if you remember, you just change this ID to your ID and it works. But once again, this doesn't have Smart Search. Smart Search has a couple of additional front-end features. Now, you don't have to use this. A lot of our customers do, but it's not required. You can just call the API directly. All the documentation is in our site. But this is a nice, quick, clean way to see what Smart Search would look like. So here, I come in and I copy it and I go into my IDE. This was the code that we saw from before, which was the regular Rapid UI. What I'm going to do here is create a new file and paste this in. It does have some additional front-end features, which you'll see why in a second. Make sure I use that same ID. If you remember, that's this ID. So when I'm here in my Sandbox and I go to the engine, in this case, I'm using this, right? So I'm just going to grab that ID. I come in here, change it like I did before. And when I save this, I can call it obviously whatever I want. Whoops. Save this to John M. I already have a file here, the Sandbox, John M. Sandbox, smartsearch.html. I use very long names for things. And then I put it somewhere. I either store it locally, I can FTP it to a server just to play with it and share it with other people. I won't bore you with that detail. But what that does is it changes that interface, right? So now I have the switch between concept search and keyword search. The keyword search and the concept search are just where you can switch back and forth. If I am looking for hiking boots, we know this interface, this is the standard stuff. The keyword functionality does not change. But if I switch to concepts, here's where I can say I can ask a question. Products for cooking on a camping trip. You may have seen these various demos. It's much smarter in understanding what do I need to include in the search results based on more of what is referred to as natural language processing, because it understands the concept of this question. I could also ask in Spanish, I can ask in Chinese, etc. I also can upload images, right? So now the image search is also working. If I go back to my desktop, anyway, you may have seen this demo before, but what this will do is show you the image results here. And get my results right here. These are coming up because I did a Boost and Berry review on my demo account. So that is how you switch from the initial QuickStart setup to Smart Search. Turn on the features inside of HawkSearch. If they're not available, just reach out to someone at HawkSearch. Will turn it on. Use the new front end within Handlebars. Take that file just like you did with the other Rapid UI front end, and now you have everything you need. Good luck.